All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Pastor Craig Van Beek. I am glad to be your chair this year. We welcome you to our meeting, so we'll call it to order. We will begin with an invocation by Scott Wyman. Certainly may.
All right, shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for a beautiful day today. Certainly looking forward to some nice warm weather. Lord, thank you for the beginning of the season here at Sandy Pines, and you certainly bless us with that. Lord, please give us the information, courage, and knowledge to make the decisions we have to make tonight and going forward. We make these decisions based on what we feel is the best interest for our park. And Lord, help us to be respectful and courteous to each other throughout this meeting. And Lord, I ask that you bless this meeting. I pray this all in your Son's great name. Amen.
If you would stand with me and do our Pledge of Allegiance tonight.
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for joining me in that. Kimberly, if you could do roll call, please.
Sure. Corey Behrens. Here. Rick Day. Here. Colin Geibel. Here. Jenny Hager. Kelly Johnson. Here. Larry Munger. Here. Paul Pepple. Here. Craig Van Beek.
Here.
Scott Wyman. Here. 8 present.
All right, this brings us to our member comment portion on the agenda items. So if you have a comment, would like to be heard, we'll ask you to step up to the mic, let us know who you are, and the time is yours. Just a reminder, this point in the meeting is only comments. There is no back and forth with the board, so this is just comment on the agenda items. Nobody fight each other to get up there. Slow down.
Good evening. My name is Ray. I'm from Phase 5. 5076 is my lot number. My question is, when you sell your property here, the trailer, either through the seller or through the park, the paperwork has to go through the park for the final sale. Am I correct? If the paperwork goes to the park on a final sale, the salesperson who draws out the paperwork should know what is or is not in compliance with the rules of Sandy Pines. If the trailer is not in compliance, why are they finishing the paperwork if they're not in compliance? That's just the question I have.
Sure. We will try to address that in our ending one where we're back and forth, can answer questions. So I wrote that down. We'll get that. We'll try to answer that for you. Thank you. Anyone else? Remember, there is later on where it's more of a back and forth too, so you still have an opportunity for public comment.
Mindy Vashaw, Site 1072, and I wanted to comment on the resolution that you're going to pass for a $1,000 fine for noncompliance. I just wondered, you know, it feels like we're back in Roman times. We're just going to tax and fee and bill everybody to death to get your way. And I want to be known that at least I have no skin in the game on this. I just think it's the really wrong way to go about it. To do a $1,000 fine. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Seeing none, we will continue on. As I said, remember, there is another portion later on, so you still have a chance. Jeff, the new park members, would you take that?
Yes, I'd love to. All right, new members and sales for the month of April 2026. We had 8 new sales, 2 through the for sale by owner process, 5 through the Sandy Pines sales department, and 1 transfer of membership. a total of 12 new members to the park here at Sandy Pines, and the demographic breakdown is 1 in their 30s, 3 in their 40s, 3 in their 50s, 4 in their 60s, and 1 in their 70s. And that concludes the sales for April 2026.
I need a motion to accept the new park members. Someone like to make that motion? We have a motion by Wyman and a support by Day. All in favor say yes. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Approval of April 2026 board minutes. I'm sure each of you had a chance to review those. Are there any corrections or adjustments that need to be made? No, I got it, Larry. So inside the minutes, it says closed executive. It's supposed to just say executive. So we can adjust that. Thank you, Larry. Anything else? So I would need a motion to approve the amended minutes.
I second the motion to accept the April 26th board meeting.
All in favor, say yes. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Finance, Kimberly, if you would take over.
All right, so our monthly financial review for April 2026, year to date. Overall, for Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails, our total revenue is at $6.92 million. That is up 1.9% compared to last year. Our total expenses is $4.24 million, which is down about 5.8% compared to last year. Overall, our net income is $2.79 million, which is up 18%. There are other factors outside of the revenue and total expenses numbers that equate to that, and you can see that through the financial statements. But our overall cash position as of the end of April is $6.4 million, and that is an increase of $1.5 million compared to prior year. If you look at the chart on the bottom, our budget versus actual, and I apologize, this is actually in millions, so that will be corrected. But our total revenue budget is in the gray, and then the actual is in the green. Those figures there are highlighted per the financial statements, and then our expenses, and then our net income. We actually budget for a negative net income or net loss as of the end of the year because we are a not-for-profit. But as you can see, these numbers will kind of close in together as we get closer through the year. So you'll be able to see these numbers change on a monthly basis. Our 6-month revenue from November through April. So our revenue is the green line on the bar graph, and then our expenses is the blue. So as you can see, our revenue is recognized early in the season and continues to grow, and then our expenses catch up to that through the season as well. Our total revenue as of the end of April was $6.9 million. Within this, our resort services was at $5.3 million. Sales department brought in $549,000. Maintenance income, $536,000. In retail, $179,000 to date. We're early in the season, so we'll continue to see some of those departments on the lower list there increase as the season goes on. And our total expenses today are $4.2 million. Overall, our net income as of April is $2.7 million. So to compare the variances just from last year to this year, within resort income, we're at 5.3 million compared to 5.1 million. This is a positive variance increase of 197,000. Our sales income is at 549,000 compared to 642,000. We've seen a strain in this over the off season, but happy to say that it's picking up in the most current month. When you look at the financial statements, you're going to see a lot of the year-to-date income coming in just within the last couple months. But overall, year-to-date, we're about 92,000 behind last year. Our maintenance income is 536,000 compared to 438,000, and that's an increase of 97,000. There were some increases to the pump out scheduled fees for the season, the plans, and we're going to notice that catch up and be covered with the expenses that relate to that down below as the season goes on. Our retail income, I do want to mention that this is all encompassing of the park and garden, the rental, and those other retail areas all in that area. And as of April 2026, we're at 179,000. And then April last year, 234,000. So we're below a little bit at 55,000, but we have confidence that that will pick up through the season. Overall total gross revenue for the park, we're at 6.9 million compared to 6.7 million, so we're overall up about 130,000. On the expense side, our payroll and benefits, we're at 1.4 million compared to 1.38 million, so we're up just a little bit compared to last year by 24,000. Our maintenance and upkeep, we're down about 38,000. Utilities and insurance, we're up about 72,000. In supplies and maintenance, we're down 418,000. So overall, total expenses, we're down 260,000. So overall, our net income as of the end of April is 2.78 million compared to 2.36 million last year. So we are still up overall about 430,000. Again, I want to highlight that when you look at the graph here, a lot of the revenue is expected through the season, so we're safeguarding ourselves, and we will be able to see where those expenses catch up within the season, just because we are noticing an increase within those expenses hitting the park as well. And that overall is my review for Sandy Pines. I do just want to highlight we are going to continue to monitor those seasonal revenue growths as the summer continues on. We're also going to monitor the staffing and operational efficiencies as we continue through the peak of the season. And we're going to continue to evaluate the capital planning and long-term infrastructure replacement needs as we move into the summer season, particularly as we're looking at the ongoing capital infrastructure needs throughout the park and the operational support required to maintain all of those assets. So that concludes my review for Sandy Pines.
Thank you. Does any of the board members have a question about the April 2026 financial statement for Sandy Pines? Seeing none, I need a motion to accept the financial report for Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say yes. Yes. Any opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Kimberly, if you continue on with Lake Monterey Golf Course.
Oops. Yes, first, Lake Monterey Golf Course as of April 2026 year to date, our total revenue is down about 19%. We're at 283,000 gross revenue for the month year to date. So we are down compared to last year. The season, it's just a lot of people are ready to golf, but we need the weather to cooperate with us too. So total expenses is at 221,000, so we're down about 19.8%. So we've recouped some of those costs off of that revenue as well. Overall net income is at 63.9 thousand. So overall our net income is down 15.7% compared to last year. Our total cash position, we're at 971,000 for operating cash as of the end of April, which is up 227,000 compared to last year. Again, down below, you will see the same thing. Our budget is in the gray numbers there, and then the actual numbers are in the green. And you'll be able to see the revenue and the expenses catch up to budget, and net income equal out as the season continues as well. We're early in the season, so there will be a lot of trending as the season goes on. Then overall, just to kind of highlight where revenue comes from, and you'll be able to continue to see this graph change as well when we look at the total metrics of the total revenue for the golf course. Total revenue is at $282,852. The majority of that is the startup for the income with the member assessment that came in at the beginning of the season for $216,300. So as of right now, that makes up 76%, but that percentage will reduce as additional play goes on. Green fees were at $32,000, memberships $22,000, pro shop, the merchandise sales $1.4 thousand, food and beverage $2.2 thousand, the beer and wine $4.7, and then events and banquets. We do have some requests for people that want to host activities within the golf course, so you'll be able to see that go up. That's just at $660 right now. Total expenses as of the end of April is $220,790. So our total net income overall is at $63,948. And then just to briefly look at the profit and loss statement, I really want to highlight this piece when looking at the total net income for the golf course year to date. Our total net income is at a negative $11,910 compared to prior year. But if you look at the member assessment, we did reduce that this last year. So the golf course will be working to receive that additional $54,000 from the membership throughout the season. Green fees is reduced $1,000 compared to last year. Memberships $3,000. The pro shop $1.9. Food and beverage is up $103. Beer and wine is down a little bit, $928. And then events banquet, we didn't have anything last year there. Our payroll benefits are up $10,000. The maintenance on the course currently is down about $27,000. We are targeting a major capital infrastructure project for the irrigation system, which is expected to take place next spring, if not this fall. But right now it's targeted for next spring. And then the cost of goods is down $471, and then our marketing and admin costs are down about $663. So overall total expenses is down $54,000, while total revenue is down $67,000. So they offset each other for a negative, where for $63,948, just down a little bit compared to prior year. And again, our cash position is at $971, which is just about down $9,000 from last month. And that concludes my review for Lake Monterey.
Thank you. Excuse me. Any board members have a question about Lake Monterey Golf Course financial statement? Hearing none, I need a motion to accept that.
Motion to accept the report.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Kimberly, our 2026-2027 preliminary budget review.
Okay, I'm going to share again. Sorry. Get my screen back up there. All right. So I ended up presenting, nothing will be voted on the budget today. This is just the first preliminary draft review. Oh, okay, 1 second. Said sharing. Is that there now? Saying I'm sure.
We're not sure what phase that was.
There we go. All right. So overall, the preliminary draft for the board approval, this will be approved in August. In May, we are just looking at the preliminary approval, and month by month, we'll take a different piece of the budget just so we can stay active with it and then have a good basis when we approve the final budget at the end of the year.
Kimberly, could you expand that a little bit?
Yep.
Scott's eyes are, you have 40-year-old eyes up here.
Is that better? Okay.
Is that better? Everyone see it a little bit better?
Okay, yep. Okay. So what we did look at, we did compare actual to the current budget, and then we didn't really put many place markers in the next year's budget. The one thing that we continue to get hit with across the industry, Department of Labor continues to increase minimum wage. We stay pretty close to minimum wage here as a seasonal park. So it's catches up to us each year, so we do have some factors in there for the budget to respond to that. Outside of that, so overall, we have a net reduction in in expense. So we usually budget at a net expense because we are a not-for-profit, and I don't want to highlight too much on that, but we are looking at recouping some of that right now. But again, we do not have any other expenses or revenue trends from the current season in there because it's still early. The number that we look at the very bottom is the cash budget. That's what we're going to want to look at as our total change from prior year to this year and where we're changing. So right now, again, it's early in the budget review, but it shows a pickup of 6.5 thousand. The key factor here is the March CPI index. So March 2026, actually, not 2025, March 2026, the CPI index comes out, and Jeff and I are always very eager to see what that is, just to, for the members' perspective, for the parks' perspective, both areas there. But per the bylaws, we look at the March index of that year, and that shows the increase from the prior March to the current March, and what that percentage on overall commodities and inflation increase that has been expected over the last 12 months. The number that came out was 3.3%. That's in comparison to 2.7% prior year. So overall, the increase in the overall annual dues and the annual capital is $58. $50 of that will be allocated to the annual dues, and $8 will be allocated to the annual capital. So that has filtered through this budget here. And then the golf assessment with the new resolution, that is impacted by that same CPI measure, so that will go from 125 to 129. And then the cable TV and Wi-Fi assessment, when that was passed, we don't have a marker in there, but I did highlight that because we stay within the trend of the increases that we get from Charter as well. So again, this is a very brief review of the budget, but this is just my first presentation of what we'll be looking at. We'll continue to look at it on a monthly basis.
All right, thank you. Moving on, comments of the chairperson. I just want to thank everyone for being here. It makes me feel like we all care so much for Sandy Pines. You care about your investment and everything that happens here. And I just want to let you know that the board feels the same way. We just don't oversee, we're members as well. And so everything that we do, is Scott said in his prayer, we try to take everyone to consideration as we try to do the best we can do for you guys. And so we're excited to start the summer. And like I said, thank you for all of you being here tonight. Jeff?
Yeah, thank you, Craig. Like to thank you for coming as well. Nice to see the smiling faces in a packed house setting here. So May is always kind of busy for us. We're blessed to have Mother's Day, so hopefully all the mothers out there had an awesome Mother's Day last week. We've got Memorial Day event coming up. It's hard to believe, not this weekend, but next weekend is Memorial Day already. So please take time to remember those that have sacrificed for our great nation, and the families that are sacrificing as well. They've given the ultimate price so we can be here at our blessed Sandy Pines. Some other reminders, so with Memorial Day comes boating activity, and with boating activity, if it's not 40 degrees out with a lake temperature of 20. You're going to have some boats out there. Make certain that you pick up your stickers at the front desk. Get them on your boats, please. Make certain that they're registered. We have seen kayaks already early this year with no site numbers on them. And at the beginning of the season, early, the lake level was low. And everybody that did their rain dance and prayed got the lake level up. But those kayaks went out into the middle of the lake with no site numbers on them. So you can reach out to either the park inspector or public safety if you're missing a kayak. That's the only way we can identify them. If we can't identify them, they may be recycled. So please take care of your kayaks. Make certain that they have site numbers on them. Docks as well. We got to put our boats in, so let's have the docks in. You know, we passed the rule a while ago to allow the docks to stay in the green space, moved all the way up, away from the shore. This weekend is last weekend to kind of get that back in the water. I know it's cold out there, but our seasonal workers are returning back for some shoreline work and maintenance on the shoreline, so try to get those docks in this week if you could, please. Site cleanup is just around the corner. That's June 10th, so good time to, if you haven't started that, let's start it already. Let's get it going. The park inspector office, Jim and Steve and team, they'll be out and about, so please make certain that we're managing that and everybody hits that 6/10 date. And then the last one for you is capital investment town hall is tomorrow here, 9 a.m. We've got some good information for you for the long-term investment of the park. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, brings us to our next one, old business, a capital investment project. Jeff?
Yep, so I kind of lumped those two together. 9 a.m. here, we're going to have the cross-functional team. We've had members from the finance committee, long-range planning, board. We did a board workshop, I believe May 3rd. Spent a lot of time. We've put a lot of time and effort into this. Please come out. We've got a bunch of information. You know, we're blessed to have a 10-year reserve. It is expiring, but the park is over 50 years old. So we still have some work to do to, you know, make certain that we're protecting our park, protecting our investment, and we can hand it off in a good state to generations to come. So hope to see you tomorrow.
All right, brings us to resolution 041726A. Jeff, do you want to touch on this? And then I will read the resolution.
Yeah, so we talked about this last month as well. So this is reflective of the Eagle Structures letter that came out it actually was released in March, but there was multiple meetings. We were part of a stakeholder group along with many other campgrounds throughout the state of Michigan. You had township officials, you had county officials. It was a large group of people that took review of the 2010 letter that's been out there and made updates to it. So this is reflective of all that information. Sandy Pines presented our information. And again, the state of Michigan, their position was, we want Sandy Pines to go into every single one of your guys' trailer and find out if it's compliant or not, log it, and then communicate to the state that it's non-compliant so your stuff can get removed. And we said, absolutely not. We are not doing that. So the compromise on this is transfer at ownership, which this reflects transfer of ownership. And I've heard already a comment tonight. I've seen the emails come through. Item number 12, non-compliance. We've been doing this for 2 years, folks, because we knew this was coming down. This has been 2 years of a lot of work. We've been doing this for 2 years where if a trailer is deemed non-compliant through the sales process, then either A, the seller has to take care of it, or B, the new owner, buyer, is going to take care of it. We go through the permitting process. If it's not permitted, it's not documented that those things are there. The salesperson does not go through the trailer during that process. Our inspection process is we look on the outside and make certain that it's compliant to state campground rules, setbacks, electrical, things of that nature. We do not go inside. And a lot of times when we go through that process, shades, curtains, things are closed. We do not go inside your trailer, okay? So we will go through that inspection process, and then if it's deemed non-compliant, there's an agreement signed by the buyer and seller who's going to take care of that non-compliance. Item number 12 on here is not if you're found non-compliant, we're fining you $1,000. What item 12 is on this resolution is if you have signed the agreement and said you're going to correct it, and there's an agreed mediation plan, which is in the Eagle letter, and that agreed remediation plan between Sandy Pines and said owner is not met, then we have to fine you. We're going to fine you because it has to be completed. If the state comes through, we have to log it and we have to show that it's back to compliance. If it's not compliant, we will do a follow-up. We have extended based on parts availability, things of that nature. But if it's blatant, I'm just not going to do it, we will fine you. The other thing that we've seen, and right now we've only had 2 or 3 cases so far, is somebody put something in, and then we're driving by and somebody took it right back out again. That we cannot do that because we have logged it as compliant. If the state comes out here, asks for our log, and then goes to these places and find out that they're not compliant, then we're in trouble. And the big thing on this is attached to our campground license. It states that in the letter. So we have to honor and do what we say what we're going to do, and we have to maintain that, and we have to prove that, because if they find anything else otherwise, they will attach that to our license. Either A, give us a new license with restrictions, B, revoke our license, or C, they will come in and they will ask you to remove your trailer. And we do not want that. This is the best scenario and the best situation that we could have gotten out of 2 years of discussions with Eagle. And this is kind of where we're at.
All right, let me read the resolution. Bear with me, they're a little bit long. Whereas the bylaws of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated, Article 8, Section 6E, gives the Board of Directors the power to adopt, amend, rescind, repeal rules and regulations relating to the use of Sandy Pines property and the conduct of its members and their guests. Whereas Sandy Pines is a licensed campground with camping units defined as park model RVs subject to ANSI 119.2 and 119.5 code construction with maximum 400 square feet livable space, where REVA and RPTIA seals are required and applied by the manufacturer to maintain RV maximum 400 square feet livable space and construction requirements. Whereas the State of Michigan Eagle letter dated January 29, 2026 states the thermal envelope of a recreational unit must remain as originally designed. For example, doors and windows on a park model recreational unit cannot be removed between the recreational unit and the 3-season room. These types of modifications nullify the manufacturer's ANSI A 119.5 certification that is required under the Administrative Rule 325.15551 for park mile recreational units. Non-compliance may be corrected with a distinct timeline and remediation plan when identified. Whereas Rules Section 2, Site Development and Regulations, Subsection B, camping units do not address camping unit park model modifications or remediation. Whereas the Board of Directors for the health and safety and welfare of Sandy Pines believe it is in the best interest of Sandy Pines to amend and clarify the rules and regulations. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the following amendments in addition to the rules and regulations relating to Section 2. Site development and regulations, subsection B, camping units. Adding items 11 and 12, camping units added to page 37 of the Sandy Pines Rules and Regulations and Bylaws Handbook. Number 11, thermal envelope integrity. The thermal envelope of any recreational unit must remain as originally designed and manufactured. Modifications that alter or compromise this envelope are strictly prohibited. Example, doors and windows or walls on a park model recreational unit shall not be removed to create an open connection between the unit and an attached structure such as a three-season room. Such alterations void the manufacturer's ANSI A119.5 certification required under Administrative Rule 325.1551 and will render the unit non-compliant. Number 12, non-compliance and enforcement. Any recreational unit found to be non-compliant may be brought into compliance according to defined timeline and remediation corrective action plan approved by the park inspector and park president, particularly at the time of ownership, transfer unless directly identified by the authority having jurisdiction, i.e. a township, local county health department, or state. A permit will be required to confirm non-compliance is corrected. Failure to meet the agreed upon timeline or remediation plan or any subsequent action that results in the unit becoming non-compliant again after correction will result in the following penalty: a fine of $1,000 per violation, assessment of 10 points to the membership per violation. In addition, the park reserves the right to require immediate removal of any structures that remains in or returns to non-compliant status. Ooh, can I take a drink 1 sec? We can do that. Yep. No, I'm not rereading it, Scott. I'm not rereading it. Would anyone like to make a motion to accept Resolution 041725A as presented?
I make a motion to accept Resolution 041725A as presented.
Do we have a second? So that, it's a good question. No, it's a very legitimate, good question. And that was what that first part was for you to make comments on our agenda, anything on the agenda. So the interaction part is after the meeting where we do questions and answers back and forth. No, so yes, at this point, because the opportunity was there before we went through the agenda. That's why I said this is your opportunity to comment on anything on the agenda.
And I'd like to hold on, please. I'd like to further add that please look at the date of this resolution. This resolution was done in April last month. It's been sitting out there for almost 30 days. People have written in on their comments. There's for and against it. They've sent all the information that they've wanted to the board. We had the opportunity to have this conversation last month, and we're not out of season. Yeah. Okay, so we've had this. This has been going on for 2 years. Okay, we've had this conversation. It's posted on the website. There's a rave notice sent out to everybody. There's an agenda attached. There's links for the resolutions. You can go read those resolutions in Florida, Missouri, Alaska. Doesn't matter where you're at. This has been out here for a while. Okay. Hey. This dialogue's been going on for 2 years.
So this one, as we try to put these out, so there's different options. I wish I would have been, I guess, a little bit more clear that that was your option to talk on these. We had a couple people mention those, so I'm sorry that that was miscommunicated. The information has been out for a while. We've been doing this for almost 2 years. This is the process we've been doing. We've been waiting for Eagle's letter to come through. It finally came through. As Jeff was stating, when Eagle first came at us about this, what they were proposing, it was just, it would have ripped everything apart. And I appreciate the work we've done to try to get Eagle to bend a little bit. If you know much about Eagle, they do not bend much. Eagle is quite powerful. There's not much that oversees Eagle. And so I appreciate the work that we've done. And ultimately, these changes are not driven from us. They're not. They're driven from the state. And here it plays into everyone's investment. Everyone's investment. If we let this, if someone goes back into noncompliance and the state comes in, at some point the state can just say, we're not going to play with you guys anymore. We're not going to do that. And that can happen. We're not going to sue the state. We would lose. It's not going to happen. So we're trying to find the best medium that we can do inside of here. So it's also protecting, as I said, everyone's investment. I don't have my windows and doors removed. If you guys do, it is what it is. I'm not going to come to your trailer. We don't want to do that. But I also have to protect the people that don't have that. And if we lose our license or get a license that's diminished in any way, that affects your investment for somebody else. Your investment we have now put in risk for that. And so we tried to find a happy medium, and I think we have. I think the board has talked about it. As I said, I appreciate the work we've done. This is how we've been doing it the last couple years. So I would entertain a motion if you would like to move forward. Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a comment on this. This resolution, very similar to this, a resolution very similar to this, came to the board 2 years ago, and everybody knows I was very, very much opposed to it, and it was quite an outbreak here. The board made a motion to table it for 2 years until we got some information or some clarification from Eagle or the township or health department. And we got the structures of licensed campsites from Eagle. And it pretty much aligns up with this resolution. I mean, we're not putting anything stronger than what Eagle has in there other than the penalties if you don't comply. We're going to talk about some of the advantages, the good things that came out of this. We'll talk about those later in another resolution. But the one good thing is non-compliant. I hate being called non-compliant. I'm non-compliant because I took my sliding door out and because I have an air conditioner that was approved through the park to be put in 20 years ago. It was an accepted practice. I've been here a long time, accepted practice. If you wanted to do some interior work, you did it. You didn't need a permit. But it is what it is. I mean, and even Marvac, I was in a meeting with Marvac, a year and a half ago or so, and they were surprised that we had allowed this. They said, we can't believe you've allowed people to take doors out, or people have taken doors out. They've ordered trailers without walls in. He said, I can't believe you guys ever allowed that, but we did, and it's here, and we have to take care of it. And I've been going back and forth on this, excuse me, and I looked at the mission statement for the Board of Directors. The Board of Directors will provide positive leadership and management direction so to ensure the long viability and success of Sandy Pines. So I'll be a yes vote on this thing. I think it's just in the best interest of this park. Thanks.
Yeah, so again, this, and I apologize because it's not back and forth. It is a legitimate question. It is a good question, and I will answer this question. That is not an Eagle fine. Eagle may fine us if we are not compliant, but again, it puts everyone at risk. And so the reason it's $1,000, we have rules, and if you break that rule, it's dangerous. If we want us to try to make it more affordable to break rules, is that what we're asking? Do you want me to make it more affordable to break the rules we have? Would that be better? And so that doesn't make a lot of sense. We're trying to protect everyone's investment. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm being very transparent. That's what I'm trying to do. Don't do it. You're putting people at risk, and that's why. Do I want to collect $1,000 from anybody? No. I hope we never collect $1,000 from one single person. I don't. That's not the point of it. The point of it is please do not do it because it puts everyone at risk. That's why. Any other board members like to weigh in, though, before we vote?
Yeah, I think it's important to reemphasize the fact that that fine is only going to come after you've made an already signed agreement that you're going to correct the deficiencies with a date when you're going to have it done. So if something comes up, like you can't get the material or any kind of delay, you bring that documentation in to the park inspector or the park president and negotiate a little bit farther extension, because that documentation you bring in goes in your file so we can prove to the state that they still are trying to get compliant. So that fine comes in place when all the dates are done that you said you were going to do and you didn't do it. Or in my case, I put my door back in, and then soon as Jeff goes away or Jim goes away, I take my door back out, and then they catch me again. So then I'm going to get a $1,000 fine. So the $1,000 fine will only take place if you fail to honor the agreement you said you're going to do. Is that all right? When you sell, one of the two of you are going to agree to fix it.
One more thing I forgot. I just want to add one little thing. When I was making my comment, I forgot to mention this. That's one good thing that came out of this new procedure. If you are non-compliant, such as myself, I got my slider out, I can continue to keep my slider out until I die and sell the place. Then it has to become compliant. But right now, if I'm out of compliant, I can keep my big air conditioner as long as it keeps going. You know, you won't have to fix it until you sell it. And then either the seller or buyer will fix it.
Anyone else? So some of those will have to be answered by Jeff specifically. I don't have that specific information. But I don't want to do too much back and forth at this point.
So we'll answer that. It's a good question, and then we do need to do the roll call to move forward on this. So the timeline again is dependent. We're going to start with 30 days, okay? And then if a door window slider takes 6 weeks, okay, then we'll adjust that to 6 weeks based on the parts and the availability of a contractor. But what we got to be careful of is I can't get anything for 9 months. That's not going to fly either. So, and we have done this. We followed up with Vacation Land. Vacation Land pre-ordered sliders, windows. They have a stock over there, and they ran low because thank you for those that were being proactive and did it before they sold, and they're still here in the park. But it is negotiable, but it's got to be reasonable as well. We're not gonna wait the entire season or 6 or 9 or 12 months. We will follow up on the parts. We will follow up on the contractor and make certain that the timeline is legitimate. We're not trying to be jerks about this. We are trying to work with people.
And in the proposal, it should indicate instead of a fair or negotiated timeline, that you're going to start out with a 30-day thing.
This wording is directly from the Eagle letter.
Rick Day has called the question. That brings us to a vote then when you call the question. All in favor to... Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Yep.
This is roll call. I apologize for that. Roll call, Kimberly.
All right, Corey Behrens? Yes. Rick Day? Yes. Colin Geibel? Yes. Kelly Johnson? Yes. Larry Munger? Yes. Paul Pepple? Yes. Craig Van Beek?
Yes.
Scott Wyman? Yes. Passed 8-0.
So it brings us to new business. So I'm going to do something just a little different for everybody. take some liberties as the chair. So the next resolutions that we read is we're going to go through each of these. I'll have Jeff describe what it is. I will read the next one. Some of my fellow board members have agreed to take some of it, so I don't have too bad of dry cotton mouth. But so the board has the right to move something for immediate action. If something gets moved in here, not saying it will, but if something gets moved for an immediate action vote tonight, I will allow you to come and comment on it, okay? So it doesn't feel like we've slid something by you. Does that make sense? Again, I'm not going to say it's going to be completely back and forth. That's not what I'm telling you. But you're going to be able to weigh in if someone wants to move something for a vote tonight. Okay? Yep. All right. Resolution 051526A, storage sheds, garages, and cart shelters. Jeff, would you touch on this?
Yes. So again, these resolutions are located in the Eagle Letter. The Eagle Letter can be located on the Sandy Pines website. We've posted all the information. I had it up on the screen earlier.
Jeff, I apologize. Can you put that resolution on the screen? Remember they had asked
yep.
that.
Yep.
Sorry for interrupting.
So the summaries are located out on the website as well under the Board of Directors link at the bottom of the page. The Eagle Letter is located at the bottom of the page on our website under the Park Inspector, and all of the Eagle information is out there. Again, we've been very transparent with everything in regards to this. So the one that was just passed was the hard pill, right? The next three are giving back to the membership, okay? So the storage sheds and golf carts, Eagle has stated basically in their old letter 200 square feet was the maximum, but they're basing that on a standard campsite, which could be 1,200 square feet. Ours are 3,200 square feet. Golf carts, six-seater golf carts. If I go across the street and try to buy a six-seater golf cart right now, it will not fit in my garage. It will not fit in my garage. So part of these resolutions are, again, giving back. This one is opening up the max from 200 square feet to 400 square feet. It still has to fit on your site. It still has to meet all of the setbacks. It still has to meet all the requirements. But and some people can do it and some people can't. But we've been asked, it was a write-in question this afternoon, what are we going to do about the new six-seaters golf carts because they don't fit in the old sheds or garages anymore? This is a solution for that. You don't have to do it, or you can, but it's up to you. And so this is opening up, it's opening up the size of this structure to give members options that weren't available before.
Jeff, will you touch on the parking as
Yes.
well?
So in here, again, if you go into this resolution, part of the statute is in any campground, you still have to maintain parking for 2 vehicles. Now, is that, 2 Priuses, or are they 2, 4 dually King Ranches, right? Trucks. So there is a requirement in here, it's always been there, that you have to have a requirement for 2 vehicles on your site, okay? The requirement size, I believe we went to 20 by 20 in this, but it is reflective in this resolution as well. So if you can fit it on your site, you can still maintain your 2 vehicle parking, and you still meet all the setbacks and requirements and things of that nature, you can have a larger garage to fit a brand new shiny 6-seater golf cart that won't fit in an old one. We've also combined the golf carts and the sheds language, because in a lot of the areas it's redundant. We've went through our process of having the rules committee review these for the last 2 months as well. And so that's our check. Again, not, I think the term used in the past is secret squirrel. We're not sitting in a room making these things up. We are following our process. Rules committee has had these for 2 months, and they've reviewed them. They've made their recommendations, which you're seeing in this resolution as well. The board has reviewed them, and we're trying to give back. That's what these are.
Do any board members like to weigh in on this resolution before I read it? Just your thoughts on it? All right, bear with me. Whereas the bylaws of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated, Article 8, Section 60, gives the Board of Directors the power to adopt, amend, rescind, and repeal rules and regulations relating to the use of Sandy Pines property and the conduct of its members and their guests. Whereas Rules Section 3, items requiring permits, subsection B, storage sheds, and K, golf cart shelters, Sandy Pines Rules, Regulations, and Bylaws Handbook, pages 38 and 40, must be updated to New Eagle 2026 structure letters requirement and can be combined to avoid redundancy. Whereas the Board of Directors for the Health, Safety, and Welfare of Sandy Pines believes it is in the best interest of Sandy Pines to amend and clarify the rules and regulations. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the following amendments and or additions to the rules and regulations relating to Section 3, items requiring permit, subsection B, garages, golf cart shelters, and storage sheds, page 38. Number 1, storage sheds, shelters, garages are defined as non-habitable storage only. Number 2, the siding may be made of exterior grade or treated plywood, vinyl siding, stone siding, aluminum siding, and shingled with asphalt or rolled roofing or metal roofing. A roof may have a maximum of 6.5 inches of overhang. A maximum of 2 total structures of maximum 400 square feet combined or 1 structure totaling 400 square feet are allowed on a membership site, measured from interior of the exterior walls and sheeting. Number 4, 10-foot height maximum or variation permit may be requested to match current RV park model roof height or the RV park model units. Number 5, all structures are to be erected on the ground level with the perimeter to be finished with landscaping such as stone, patios, pavers, and treated wood. No footings of any kind are allowed. Number 6, structures must remain accessory in nature and be constructed in a manner consistent with Park Township, PCI, Eagle, and other applicable requirements. Number 7, structure must remain removable and cannot be converted into permanent living space. Number 8, no plumbing, water, HVAC, or living space utilities are allowed. Number 9, dual permit required for electric. Number 10, no insulation, drywall, finished rooms, sleeping areas, or habitable. Struggling there. Interior build-outs allowed. Must be required setbacks and all the inspector permitting requirements. Golf cart shelters are for cart protection storage only, not enclosed as garage living space. Number 12, golf cart shelters are for, Number 13, use is limited to storage or golf cart protection only. Number 14, permit must contain a drawing showing accurate placement of structures meeting above requirements as well as vehicle parking locations on your site required per Part 125 of Public Health Code Act 368 of 1978, Section R 325.1556, Rule 6. 1, as well as Sandy Pines Rule Book, page 45, under typical campsite setback. Vehicle parking of 400 square feet, 20 by 20, or similar in size. Storage sheds, shelters, garages are not to be included as part of vehicle parking requirements. Number 16, must meet a 4-foot unobstructed clear path per eagle, state of Michigan structure requirements, which extends completely around the recreational unit and or an abutted porch. What is the board's pleasure? So we have a motion and support, and true to my word as I am, we will take a moment and I will do comments So if you would like to stand up and comment about this, you are welcome at this moment.
Do you guys have a plan in place for all these permits that are gonna come in all of a sudden?
So we just have to, we're not doing back and forth questions, but if you want to come to the mic and give us your opinion on this, we would definitely love to hear that.
I am Paul Whitty from K298. Jeff, I can fit a 6-seater in my garage, and it is 16 by 12. And we got plenty of room. In fact, we extended our garage to do that. First question is, we were given an opportunity to comment in the last few days on these resolutions. And the past practice has been, and it hasn't been that long, that you set into practice that there'd be 30 days to comment on resolutions. So I'm wondering if the board has had time to read comments submitted in the last couple days or even today on these resolutions before you vote.
Thank you.
I have concerns just about the aestheticness and seeing sheds the size of most of our trailers. That just doesn't appeal to me. I think just personally we should look at excess, building more barns, storing more things. I just have strong opinions about that. I think it'll push more cars into the overflow areas, which again, just from an appearance standpoint, but also we've struggled with that in the past years of cars being parked on roads and in the overflows, limiting room for guests, people that already don't have 2 spots for a car, so I don't know how well that's been enforced over the years. I'd like the board to reconsider as a percent of lot size. I don't want to make it more complicated, but it was good to hear the reason. If the reason is just 6-foot carts, I wonder what the other reasons are that we would promote 400 square foot sheds in what is a beautiful. If my neighbor and I both put up a 400 square foot shed, we'd never see each other. So I'll conclude with that.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to weigh in tonight?
I was just wondering if there's a plan in place for all of the permits that are gonna be coming in all of a sudden, because there's a long wait as it is. So if everybody's gonna get a permit for another 400-foot dwelling, how are you gonna manage those permits?
Good question. No, thank you. Anyone else this evening on this one specifically? First call. Okay. With a motion and a second on increasing the shed size, all in favor of this motion?
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right,
Roll call. It's my bad.
okay. Scott Wyman? Craig Van Beek?
Yes.
Paul Peppel? Larry Munger? Kelly Johnson? Colin Geibel? Rick Day? And Corey Behrens? Approved 8-0.
Brings us to our next one, shade structures. And again, for all of these, for some reason, if somebody wants to bring one forward, I will let you guys come up and speak on those specifically to have a voice inside of that. Jeff, would you take the next one, Resolution 051526B, shade structures?
Yes. Bear with me a second as I pull it up on the screen. Yep, I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling down. There we go. Okay, and again, following our process, the shade structures, this encompasses, again, if you go to, I want to say page 41, shade structures, you've got your portable, you've got your gazebos, and you've got your pergolas, right? They're all specific in size. Gazebos, 13 by 13. Well, I can't fit a 13 by 13 on here. I want a 12 by 16. Sorry, it's not a 13 by 13. Rules state you can't have it. So what we've tried to do, and pergolas are a different size as well. What we've tried to do is, again, open up and provide options. 200 square feet, it can be a 13 by 13, it can be a 12, it can, as long as it's within that 200 square feet parameter, it fits on your site with all of the required setbacks. You can't put shade structures, you can't put gazebos, things of that nature in the green space. It's all the same requirements as before. We are opening up the options for the members because we've had a ton of people come in and say, can you just waive the 13 by 13? Yes, we can now. It's 200 square feet, okay? There has been a good question on the portable shed structures, you know, item number, and a lot of this language is carryover combined from the original rules and the original requirements and parameters. But we had a question of, hey, portable sheds. So really, I need a permit to put up portable shade structure. Anybody have those baseball canopies or use them for softball, things of that nature, where you go to a softball tournament, baseball tournament, and throw them? I throw mine in the back 4th of July. I have 2 of them. Do I need a permit for that? Is that what this means? No, unless you're putting that up the entire year, and you're gonna leave it up the entire year into next season, things of that nature. You don't need a permit for a collapsible shade structure to shade your family and guests, but this is again providing more options, larger square footage to meet the parameters of your individual sites.
Any board members have any question on this before we read this one? All right, I think Kelly, is this one yours?
Resolution 051526B, resolution to amend rulebook handbook. Whereas the bylaws of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails, Inc., Article 8, Section 6E, gives the Board of Directors the power to adopt, amend, rescind, and repeal rules and regulations relating to the use of Sandy Pines property and the conduct of its members and their guests. Whereas Rule Section 3, items requiring permits, subsection P, all shade structures as limiting in size variation must be updated to new Eagle 2026 structures letter requirements and must be streamlined. Whereas the Board of Directors for the health, safety, and welfare of Sandy Pines believe it is in the best interest of Sandy Pines to amend and clarify the rules and regulations. Now therefore be resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails, Inc. does hereby approve the following amendments and/or additions to the rules and regulations related to Section 3, items requiring permits, subsection P, all shade structures, including portable, pergolas, and gazebos, Sandy Pines Rules and Regulations, and Handbook on page 41. Number 1, portable shade structures must collapse. No non-collapsible legs allowed. Purpose is to protect the people from sun and outdoor elements. Number 2, maximum of 2 structures with a maximum of 200 square foot. Each are allowed on a membership site. This includes any configuration as well as roof area. Number 3, 10-foot height maximum or variation permit may be requested to max current RV park model roof line if built and abutted to the RV park model unit. Number 4, setbacks must be 4 feet from the side and rear, 8 foot in the front, 10 foot from the road effective June 1st, 2026, or at the replacement. Number 5, must be attached to the RV park model or other structures, must be freestanding. Number 6, must meet 4-foot obstruction clear path per Eagle State of Michigan structure requirements. Number 7, must not have buried footings, augers, stakes, tie-downs are allowed. Number 8, park permits are required prior to construction and/or placement. Number 9, dual permit required for electric. Number 10, no vehicles or storage of items allowed in season April 15th through October 15th. Number 11, off-season enclosures and storage of items allowed from October 16th through April 14th. Number 12, must remain open air in season. Pull-back or retractable screens are allowed. Must be movable and not permanently enclosed. Number 13, all structures are prohibited in the green space area. No vehicles or storage of items allowed in season April 15th through October 15th.
No. So the main issue on the, good question, the main issue on this is golf carts, vehicles, you can't have them. If you have, you have camping chairs, you have furniture, you're using it in an open air setting, that's fine. But what we've seen is, at the end of the season, people shrink wrapping these things and using it for storage. If you have furniture out there and you're using it that way, that's fine. If you got a bunch of boxes, totes, and things of that nature, and you're storing stuff outside to cover that up, that's no bueno. You're welcome.
What is the board's pleasure on this one?
Make a motion to adopt. Support.
With an motion and a support, again, I will open it up for anyone to come up and make a comment on this one. The 051526B shade structures. If you have any comments or input you'd like to give on this one. Ultimately, what we're trying to do, everyone, is to give you more capability to do some things at your site.
Just one question on this, and I didn't see this before, but number 2, maximum of 2 structures with a maximum of 200 square foot. It says each are allowed. I think each should be removed. That's kind of deceiving the way that is written.
Okay, we'll take a look at that, Corey. Yep. So let's table it.
Yeah, to move forward, we'll have to table it, otherwise we'll have to change the language. So.
Yeah, we're gonna have to change the language, so we'll table it.
I have a question too. If you buy patio furniture, you get a table and 4 chairs, and you can put an umbrella right in the center of the table. Is that going to be included with your 200 square feet, or is that a separate issue?
That is an umbrella. That is not a portable shade structure, a gazebo, or a pergola.
I don't think I can do anything about it. All right, brings us to our next resolution, 051526C, screened and porch enclosures. Jeff?
Okay, screened-in enclosures and porches. So, again, this is, the old rule had some general guidelines on flexible construction. This rule is more open to the lightweight aluminum framing, pre-engineered plans. No clear glazing percentage was communicated or in the rule. In the Eagle rule that is out there on the website, a minimum of 40% glazing is defined in that Eagle rule. So what is that? So that means that your porch has to have 40% open glazing windows. You can't have a porch fully enclosed and then the little skinny windows at the top. So the Eagle is setting a requirement for glazing on the porches. Maximum width has been 10 to 11 feet in the past. We're going to 400 square feet tied to the RV wall length and drip edge with a maximum of 12 feet. So we're allowing a little more space for the porches. Open concept stated generally, so strictly open, no walls, no rooms, no beds. That's kind of been the mantra in years past. Again, the big I think change in here has been no HVAC guidance or guidelines on that. They do state separate HVAC system is required. So if you go into that Eagle letter, I want to say it's on page 5 or 6, at the very bottom, they have sunroom specifications. They clearly call out in those specifications, I want to say item 4.4, that you have to have a separate thermal envelope and a separate heating and cooling system for your porch. Absolutely no plumbing and water. There's no real change there. Defined setbacks, no real change there. Vent restrictions are mentioned in the old rule, but it's very clear and explicit that you cannot have any enclosures with venting coming into that enclosure. And the one porch rule, so again, if you remember 2 years ago, the board had passed a rule where no more double porches. Okay, that rule, the grandfathering of if you have a double porch, that has not changed. That is still grandfathered into this resolution as well.
Any board members have any questions on this resolution? Corey, would you read the resolution for us, please?
Greg?
Oh, Larry, please.
On line 5, Jeff just covered it. All new replacement structures must have a separate thermal enclosure. What if you want to put a porch on, but you don't want to put heating and air conditioning on? Do you still need your thermostat and other equipment, or can it just sit there without worrying about having to put in a heater and an air conditioner you don't want?
If you don't want to heat it and cool it, you don't need to heat it and cool it. If you're going to heat it and cool it, it needs to have a separate head and a separate system and a separate thermostat.
Then can we change that line to add that you're allowed not to put an air conditioner and heater on your porch?
It doesn't say that you have to on item 5. All new and replacement structures must have a separate thermal enclosure from the RV. It is abutted to with a separate thermostat and HVAC for the heating and cooling. So,
but you're just saying it must have a separate thermal enclosure. Like it sounds to me the way I read
so
it's required.
we'll take.
Well, let's hold on one sec. I think it's, in my opinion, all the board members have opinions here, and we want to hear them. But in my opinion, I guess I don't read it that way. I think it's implied if you want to add that. I don't think this language forces you to do that. So if we want to, that's fine. If we can change that language, if that's what the board prefers, we can do that. We'll table it.
Portable units that have built-in thermostats, they might be referring to that. The heating that can heat and cool, and they have a thermostat on them, so they turn on and off. So it's not a permanent thermostat; it's just part of the portable unit. The way it's written
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I think we'll change the language on this. I think we'll table this.
That's fair.
We'll table this. Yeah. We were trying to help out the HVAC guys and force you. But no, it's all good, and we will change that language. The last one, Resolution 051526D, dune buggies and side-by-sides. Jeff, do you want to touch on this?
Yes. Let me pull this one up.
It does imply. I can see.
Okay, so this was a rule review. Currently, if you go up here, this is in our rule book today, item number 17. Item 16 above that states ATVs, UTVs, side-by-sides, all those little recreational vehicles are not allowed in the park. However, item 17 says dune buggies are not allowed in the park unless they are licensed and insured for use on Michigan roads, highways. Dune buggies must be driven on roads only in Sandy Pines. We've had requests from members that I can count on one hand. They use side-by-sides for transportation during the summer. It is not a kit. It is a registered vehicle. It has a vehicle title. It has all the vehicle requirements, and it's tested by the state police to meet vehicle highway standards. It will have a plate on it. So the current rule states side-by-sides on item 16 are not allowed, period. This is adding dune buggies and side-by-sides are not allowed in the park unless they are licensed, titled as a vehicle, and insured for this use for the state of Michigan. So this is allowing a side-by-side that is a plated vehicle to be in the park, because currently it says no, you can't have a side-by-side in the park.
Do any of the board members want to weigh in on this or have a question on this one? Comment, yeah.
I would just comment that it's not talking about an ORV sticker, because a lot of people say, well, it's legal to drive on the road, so I can drive on a county road or a township road. That's not what it's saying. It's if it's licensed and titled as a vehicle through the Secretary of State and it has a plate. So if you can drive it on any road in the state of Michigan, expressway, anything else. That's just to clarify. It's not an ORV sticker, which allows you to drive it on a county road or in a township or something. So there's a distinction.
Ultimately has the same classification as a vehicle, as a car. And so that's why we looked at and had the conversation of, well, I don't like Brian's car. You can't come in here anymore. So that was kind of the conversation of what it is. If we can read that, I think, Colin, you're going to read this one for me?
Yep. Resolution number 051526D, resolution to amend rulebook, handbook. Whereas the bylaws of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails, Inc., Article 8, Section 6E, gives the Board of Directors the power to adopt, amend, rescind, and repeal rules and regulations relating to the use of Sandy Pines property and the conduct of its members and their guests. Whereas Rules Section 12, Vehicles and Traffic Regulations, Subsection A, General Rules for Autos, Golf Carts, Mopeds, Watercraft, Snowmobiles, and Scooters. Item 17, dune buggies are not allowed in the park unless they are licensed and insured for use on Michigan roads, highways. Dune buggies must be driven on roads only in Sandy Pines. Whereas the Board of Directors for the Health, Safety, and Welfare of Sandy Pines believes it is in the best interest of Sandy Pines to amend and clarify the rules and regulations. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails, Inc. does hereby approve the following amendments and or additions to the rules and regulations relating to 212, Vehicles and Traffic Regulations, subsection A, General Rules for Autos, Golf Carts, Mopeds, Watercraft, Snowmobiles, and Scooters. Item 17, dune buggies and side-by-sides are not allowed in the park unless they are licensed, titled, and insured for use on Michigan roads, highways. Dune buggies and side-by-sides must be driven on roads only in Sandy Pines.
So just a moment to see what we're going to do with it. Any other questions, or what is the board's pleasure with this one? We have a motion and a second. You are up, sir, if you tell us who you are.
Yes. I'm Eric Miller, Phase 3, Lot 1190. You will probably need to look at the definitions for state highway. I believe that there is a motor size requirement for the state of Michigan for highways. I know this, I'm retired law enforcement. If you put highways in there, I don't believe side-by-sides are going to meet the definition for legal highway running. You have to have a certain size motor, and you may get a $40,000 or $50,000 side-by-side that somebody uses on a farm to pull hay wagons or something that might meet it, but most side-by-sides aren't going to. Their engine's not big enough. They can't go fast enough. So that definition or that wording of highway, you might want to have a legal expert, an attorney look at that specific language.
All right, thank you. Jeff, was there anything that you looked into that? 'Cause we do want to make sure what we do is correct.
Yeah, so we have pushed this through with the review of the again, the Rules Committee and legal. So really what this is referring to is, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with your comment if we're talking gators and, you know, hauling material like Park and Garden does, but I know one contractor, actually I think two contractors, we're talking the big cam, right? And I'm not a side-by-side person, but that meets the requirement. That's what we're looking at. And if it's titled by the state of Michigan,
They have a title for all state roads other than state highways.
mhm.
For instance, you can get a Honda 125 motorcycle licensed and titled to operate on Michigan roads. It cannot go on the highway, its engine isn't big enough. And if you're on the highway, you get pulled over by state police, they will ticket you and confiscate your
Okay.
motorcycle. There is
Okay.
a engine size requirement. At least there was
Okay.
as of when I retired.
Okay. Yeah. Don't show your age. We don't want don't want to do that.
So,
So I mean, we can amend that. Ironically, this is carryover language from the original rule. So, and that shows that it was done back in the 70s, right? So.
Again, it's that rule because people were riding dirt bikes or mini bikes or scooters on I-75. People were getting in trouble, getting hit. Hence, the state put a regulation in. The engine has to be a certain size, and the vehicle has to go a certain speed in order to be on highways.
Okay.
So it's that definition of a highway.
All right. So remove highway.
we can't.
Yeah. So we can remove highway. Do you want to do amended or do you want to table?
So here's my question.
Mhm.
We had one word wrong on the gazebos, and we tabled it.
Okay.
And so I guess what I'm asking the board is, we've just did that. Now we're going to change one word. You see what I'm trying to say, everyone? Like, we're going to change one word, and
Consistent.
now we're going to vote. So either, I think we need to stay consistent. So
Consistent.
either we table this till next month, or we revisit the other one as well. And I am not saying to do one or the other. What I'm saying is to be consistent. And so what is the board's pleasure inside of that? Because if we change the word on this one, I feel strongly that we need to then revisit the other one, in my opinion.
Yes, I would agree, Craig, with that. If we're,
If you table, how long before it's voted on again?
It would, Yep.
Next
not-
meeting.
Not 30 days, it would be our next meeting.
Yep.
That's when it would be. So it's the, what
I mean-
would the board prefer to do?
In my opinion, I would say that we should amend at this point. I know that we said we were gonna table the others, but if we wait till June, I mean, that's another month into the summer. I know a lot of people are looking to get gazebos going and making their improvements that they would like, if that's possible.
So again, if we amend this one, I don't have a problem with that. I'm not saying
No,
no.
no,
I'm
I'm
just
saying
saying, I
revisit
think
all.
we have to look at the other one to see if we want to either amend it or leave that one as tabled for next month. That's all I'm saying is we need to revisit the conversation. Is just by, we're not actually taking a vote to yes, no vote, but do we want, so let's amend it and then we'll move forward with the vote. Let's amend the language. What would you like the language to be? Do you want to just remove highway? Would that cover the language?
Yes.
So when we vote on this, when we make this motion and the roll call vote, you're going to be voting on the amended resolution is what you'll be voting on. Just so everyone is clear, we are removing the word highway.
Craig, I would do another motion for amended,
Okay.
and then have a,
So I need a motion to amend Resolution 051526D. In item 17, we would remove the word highways. So it would say, item 17, dune buggies and side-by-sides are not allowed in the park unless they are licensed, titled, and insured for use on Michigan roads. Dune buggies and side-by-sides must be driven on roads only in Sandy Pines. Do I have a motion to accept that amendment? We have a motion by Wyman. We have a second. A support by Peppel. Any other conversation on that?
we have a member up.
Just got one question. Is there anything in the state language that gives an age requirement to drive a dune buggy or a side-by-side?
So yes, so I will answer that. So it's just because it's a regular vehicle, you have to be 16 years old or with a license. You have to have a license. It would be the same as a car. Somebody's driving a car.
Yep.
Okay, so if somebody has a cottage, say in the dunes somewhere, and they have a 14-year-old son that drives their dune buggy, they could assume they could drive the dune buggy here.
They would not be allowed to do that
Okay.
here.
I didn't know whether you should put that in the language, 16 years old required.
Because it says it's a licensed vehicle. It's a good question, though. It's definitely good feedback. So, we have a motion, so I'm going to back up because now we haven't amended. We need a motion to accept the amended resolution 051526D. Do we have that motion?
We had Scott and Paul.
Okay. So inside of that, then Kimberly, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Colin Geibel? Kelly Johnson? Larry Munger? Paul Peppel? Craig Van Beek?
Yes.
Scott Wyman? Corey Behrens?
Yes.
And Rick Day? All approved, 8-0.
Thank you. Any of the board want to go back and revisit resolution number 051526B? Does any board member desire to do that?
Yes.
I will take proposals for language.
I propose on number 2, where it says maximum of 2 structures with a maximum of 200 square foot, that we remove each. It should say maximum of 2 structures with a maximum of 200 square foot are allowed on a membership site. This includes any configuration as well as roof area. Total.
So Corey,
Yeah, well, I was gonna take, okay, yes, 200 square foot total.
so we're removing the word each, just for clarity, and we're replacing it with the word total.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yes. I propose that we change number 2 to the maximum of 2 structures with a maximum of 200 square foot total are allowed on a membership site. This includes any configuration as well as roof area.
Any conversation on this change?
I gotta take a step back on this, right?
Sure.
So,
Sure.
again, we're talking gazebos, pergolas, and shade structures, right?
Yes.
So we have just changed it to a maximum of 2 structures with a maximum of 200 square feet total. So if I want 2 structures, I'm going to 100 square feet each,
No, it'd be 200 square feet total for both.
total for both.
Yes.
So then we need to add total for both.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. It,
No.
no.
We currently,
So
if someone has a question.
that's why it
Yeah,
also
Jim, would you come
says-
up for clarity on that? Thank you.
So the reason we chose the word each was because the state in Eagle's documents never accepted gazebos before. They now are accepting a maximum of 200 square foot. So that's why it said each, because Sandy Pines allows 2. So we had to put the word each in there to clarify that they cannot exceed 200 square feet, otherwise we're breaking Eagle law again.
But each makes it sound
So,
like you can have 2 of
Again, this.
You
this
can
one-
have 2 at 200 square feet. Eagle does allow that.
So you can have 400 square foot.
No, you can have one, they cannot be attached together. So if you have room on your lot, you cannot have 400 square foot, but you could have 2 units. And they can each be 200 square feet according to Eagle.
Yeah.
They want a structure to not be more than 200 square feet. Again, we've been putting up gazebos, and their last rules were gazebos are not allowed, if you look at their last letter. So
this
now that
one-
they are allowing it, we are now going to what they are allowing as a maximum of 200 square foot, and we're allowing 2 of them, which Eagle says we can do.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think it,
Yeah.
so this one is debated, right? Highly debated. So I think we really need more clarity on this one, in my opinion. So if anyone wants to weigh in on that, I wonder if we should just table this one to have it, just to make sure it's more clear. Thoughts? We can continue on too. That's only my opinion.
Yeah. The clarity is that Eagle, I have called them, Eagle says we can do 2 units if we want 200 square foot each. They cannot be attached. I have to be able to slide at least a piece of paper between them, which means they can't be flashed over, but that is what Eagle is saying.
So I think what I meant by clarity is, because I'm a little confused myself on, I'm not, I guess, the 400 square feet. Like, are we doing 2 for 200 each so we can have 400? I think that's kind of everybody's question, and that's where I guess I am a little confused, that we would allow 2 at 200 square feet. That's where. Correct, you are correct.
We can be stricter than Eagle, yes.
Yeah. So I guess,
Craig, I
again,
say we go ahead and just, it's already tabled. We got 50 people that are wordsmithing. These have been reviewed by legal, but if we have a question, we need clarification, that's fine. I'm not opposed to waiting, but this will be all night, everybody trying to wordsmith something, and words have meanings, and everybody's thinking of something else, so let's, in the.
so
Yeah, that's what the original was.
you guys are working me tonight. I'm gonna need dinner soon. So, Colin, go ahead. Explain what your point. Grab your mic, please.
Hear me? I think the wording makes sense to me. You can have two structures, each can be up to 200 square feet.
That's 400 feet.
Correct, you're right.
Correct.
But this says, on there, right there, it says 200 square feet.
Each, which is what the resolution says.
That's what we're allowed.
It doesn't say each on there.
I'm talking about the resolution. I don't know what that is.
That's the Eagle.
Okay, I'm talking about resolution number 051526B. Yes.
I read that, I would put 400
Yeah.
gazebo on my lot.
No, because
No.
it says each.
No.
Two structures.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so hold on. Everyone hold on. It's getting exciting. Again, my opinion is to just pull this one back and to have a conversation about it. That's my opinion. I guess where's the rest of the board on this one?
We're going to come to the same
I think the original wording was right.
Yep.
Go ahead, Larry.
All right.
1 minute, Larry's.
We'll have it read, let's see if I can find the word already. Maximum of 2 structures, period. Each structure has a maximum of 200 square feet. Maximum.
So we're adding a period behind structures, is that what you're suggesting, Larry?
Yes. And each structure
Oh,
has a maximum
I see what he's saying.
200 square feet.
So Larry, you're saying a maximum of 2 structures, period, right?
Right.
With a maximum of 200 square feet.
For each structure.
Each. So that would total,
Hey, Craig,
yes.
I would recommend table it.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think we're kind of,
reword it
yeah.
and bring it back.
We tried. That's 3 swings at the plate. We tried on that one. We will table that and move forward. I appreciate everyone's patience with that one, and I apologize. It brings us to, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. So we have, I don't want to gavel. We don't need to gavel. That's pretty violent, gavel. We're almost done. We're not done completely. When we end the meeting, remember there is the back and forth question and answer. But if the talking could just pull down a little bit, some of the people are unable to hear. It brings us to our new Rules Committee members. Jeff, do you want to take this?
Yeah, so at the last Rules Committee, the Rules Committee members are recommending 2 additions. Laura Hires and Mark Mastola. If I pronounced that incorrectly, I apologize. There are 2 seats available on the RAC. I believe they've attended and met the RAC, and at the last meeting, the RAC moved forward with recommending the addition of these 2. So we'll need a motion and then a second to approve them if the board so chooses.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve Laura Hires and Mark Mustola. I believe I said that right. All in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes. We are to meeting adjournment. After the meeting adjournment is our half-hour member question and answer. So do I have a motion to adjourn our meeting tonight? Do we have a support? We have a motion and support to adjourn our meeting of May 15th, 2026 Board of Directors meeting. All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed, same sign. All right, we stand adjourned. Into our member question and answer area. If you want to move to the microphone and let us know who you are, we have a half hour, I believe, slated for this.
Good evening. Thanks to Scott, it clarified what we're doing with enclosures that are not in compliance right now. The question I have is you're given 30 days or an extension with showing why it's going to take longer. But what if I want to sell my place, but I haven't listed it? Can I go ahead and proceed with making changes and not fall in that 30-day window because I haven't listed it, I haven't sold it? That's my question.
So, so Jan, your question is you want to gradually start making the changes to become compliant? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying,
I
what are the options? If you're saying 30 days
Yeah.
and $1,000 fine, and I'm saying somewhere down the street I'm going to be selling, do I have to wait till I list it, or can I go ahead without falling in that 30-day category to make the changes?
The 30-day category is only through the sale process where the buyer and seller have agreed to a non-compliant issue and they're agreeing to fix it. If you want to proactively start doing it, we welcome you to do that, please.
Mindy Vashaw, 1072. I want to bring up something that happened in the January meeting that is something that's been bothering me, and I know that it was unfortunate that Pat Duzma chose to leave the park and that she put her place up for sale right after the election. And the timing on that, I think, was a little bit suspect. But what was really upsetting to me was how long you guys waited to replace her. And you went until January until you replaced her. And there's multiple options that we have for the people's voice to be heard. One of those being the next highest vote getter in the election. And I think that we all had the opportunity to vote, and we should have been heard for that through that. And I think that Jill Grung should have been the next person to be on this board. And while I appreciate Paul's past service and his willingness to step up to the plate, we had other people who were willing as well. And I know that I spoke to Jill about it after the fact of it happening, and she did send in a correspondence saying that she was interested and wanted to do it, and nobody ever reached out to her on it, and I think that's unfortunate. I know that we're coming up to this big, deficit that we have and this infrastructure that you guys want to push, and Jill was in charge of a $30 million budget in a public setting, and I think she would have been an absolutely amazing candidate to have on here. And I think in the future, if we get into that position, we shouldn't select somebody that the board thinks should be on there. We should select somebody that the people said should be on there. That's all.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Cliff Miller. I am from Phase 3, 1190, and I have a question regarding marijuana here at Sandy Pines. What someone does within their own home, I don't care. But what are the rules on your property? I mean, that comes wafting everywhere. And, shoot, I get high going down the road. So my question, what are the rules here? It's been a little bit gray from when I've asked questions.
Actually, it shouldn't be gray. We follow federal law. There's no marijuana allowed. We have thrown people out of the park. We have also issued no trespass for people who are guests who have smoked marijuana in the park. Again, the challenge is you're smelling it driving by. Where's it coming from, right? And that's where some of the challenge is. But the rule, according to Sandy Pines, is we follow federal law. There is no marijuana allowed in this park.
Not even on your own property?
Not on, nope.
I mean, your own, site?
Nope. Nope, it's park.
Okay.
It's public park.
Okay, thank you for clarification, because I've heard lots of things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dick Rose, and I own a home in here. I used to live in Phase 1, but I've recently, since last year in August, I bought a different home over in Phase 5. And once I bought it, it was a for sale by owner, and got it all taken care of by the sales office up there. And then the inspector came in, and I got a non-compliance letter. And the non-compliance says I need to remove 2 walls, and I need to replace a sliding door, and another door that's 12 foot wide. Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in compliant because that home was put in 2009 by Vacation Land, and I'm compliant. That's how they made the house. The front porch has got a 5 foot wide opening into the kitchen, and the porch on the lakeside has got a 12 foot opening. And that's how it was made. I didn't take any doors out, and I don't have to put any back in. I had one other comment here. I can't remember what it was, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not making any more changes to it. I'm in compliant.
You're not.
Okay.
And here's why.
Okay.
So we've had this conversation with Eagle. We've
Yeah.
had this conversation with RVIA.
Uh-huh.
We went down and we met with 2 manufacturers of these park model trailers.
Mm-hmm.
What they've done is they've said, oh, my customer wants to design an open concept.
Yeah.
They'll build it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When it leaves their facility, it is enclosed.
Okay.
It is either enclosed with siding,
Sure.
Tyvek,
Mm-hmm.
or zip seal waterproofed board.
Okay.
That's how they get an RVI specification.
All right.
When it lands in this park, as soon as that is removed, it's non-compliant. Doesn't matter if it was designed that way. That has to be fully enclosed envelope, one structure. And if it is when it leaves the facility, because we've actually seen it, and when we were there at a manufacturer that was doing it, they said, it's legal when it leaves my place. I don't care what happens when it hits a campground. They literally said that to our face. So you're not compliant.
Okay.
If the state of Michigan comes in and they deem you non-compliant, it's got to get corrected.
So let me tell you this also. On the lakeside, the kitchen counter goes into the opening. So I got to take 8 inches and cut off that countertop.
Yes.
Wow. So I just might as well pay my $1,000 fine and not worry about it, right?
Well, again, you can continue to enjoy that as long as you want until you sell it or transfer it. You want
I'm okay the way it is?
No, he just bought it, and he's saying when he bought it, they inspected it was non-compliant, is what he said.
I'm sorry. I thought you were already here. I'm sorry.
No.
So yeah, it's not compliant. It's got to get corrected.
Okay, so I just pay my $1,000 and I'm good.
No. If it's not corrected, it either needs to be corrected or it needs to be removed.
Anybody want to buy a house?
Yeah.
I am Gene Richards, and I'm from N369. And I have a question concerning golf cart sheds, the canvas type. According to the rules, they must be on the ground. Does that mean those people who have jacked theirs up because their new golf cart is higher and they couldn't get them in, so they lifted them and put them on 4x4s all the way around and then anchored them down? Is that legal?
That's a great question. I haven't seen that. That's a great question. I don't know. I haven't seen that, so I can go take a look.
But I mean, I've seen several, and I happen to know one of the people, and he said he can't get his cart into his garage, so he lifted it because this new cart's too tall.
So we can go take a look at it.
Okay. And do we have to live up to the Eagle? Can we have our standards lower than the Eagle ones? I'm concerned about this massive gazebos all over the place with 400 square feet of them and so on. Even if they fit on your lot, after a while, this is going to be cityfied, not glamping.
Right.
You know?
Understand. So the short answer is yes. We can be more stringent than the state of Michigan. You can drink alcohol on a lake in the state of Michigan. You can't drink alcohol on the lake out here, right?
But I'm just saying that if the reason the one around this changing the wording and so on this 200 to 400 and each one 400 and whatever, why do we have to stay with Eagle's 400 square feet? Why can't we say maximum?
We are simply trying to provide options for other members. That's all we're trying to do is provide options.
Okay.
And we don't have to keep it that, Gene, you're right. And
We don't have to.
that's why we're gonna talk about it. That's why I want a little bit more of a conversation about it. That was the point.
And the other question is there any notification that ever comes out anymore as to openings on different committees? You had just indicated that 2 new people onto the Rules Committee.
No.
Were the membership aware that they were looking for people?
We generally make that announcement at the beginning of the season. I don't remember if we did or not, but
How do you make the announcement?
we'll make it at a board meeting.
At a
I mean,
board meeting.
yeah. Or typically what happens is if anybody's interested, they'll call the administration building and they'll call Janelle, who handles our committees, and ask if there's any openings.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
We could probably put it somewhere else as well, because
Yeah.
there's people with a lot of expertise out there that have hearts that want to help, and so we can communicate that.
Hello, Kevin Pepra, K267. I'm on just the opposite end as the lady who was just up here. The board has voted on a resolution to expand golf cart sheds to get the golf carts out of the climate. I understand that as long as it fits on their lot. Same way with shade structures. Shade structures for the people like myself who is out in the sun constantly. We're thinking about changing the rule to 400 square feet as you voted on today. I would hope that you would consider people, there's a lot of people in the park that are full sun all the time. We're questioning whether or not we're going to go the legal amount for Eagle of 400 square feet for shade structures. As long as they fit on the lot, just like the golf cart sheds, some will, some won't. I hope you consider the people who are out in the, excuse me, who are out in the sun all the time, versus you've already protected the 6-seater golf carts. Please protect the people that are out in the sun all the time. I mean, I don't know what the question here is. As long as the Eagle abide by it,
right? No, that's.
Then why? I hope the board considers that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That's good comments.
So I believe what Kevin was stating is, please take into consideration the ability to have more square footage for the shade structures, because we've tabled that. We've heard, hey, don't go to the level that Eagle is. Be a little more stringent to shrink that square footage. And I think Kevin is saying he's on the opposite end. Can you increase that to the legal level that Eagle is allowing us for people that need it? That's what. Right. Yep, fair.
Sarah, go ahead.
Jim Feenstra, lot 40493. I keep hearing about this envelope, the way the trailer was delivered. And mostly people have just talked about sliders and doors. But what about rooftop air conditioners? I know places where they've been pulled out, roofed over, they're patched on the inside. When that trailer goes to get sold, do they have to put a rooftop air conditioner back on there? There's a hole there for it.
No, because you've fully enclosed that hole, so it is fully enclosed top, bottom, and on the sides.
All right, I know other people that have removed a bathroom window and enclosed it because they don't want a bathroom window with people on their porch, obviously. Is that then not legal either? They have to put a window back in the bathroom?
Yeah, technically, if it's found as a non-compliant issue, yeah, because they've modified that.
But you would never know there was a window there because it's open.
Not unless you just told me.
Well, no, I didn't say I did. I said I know people that have done this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, asking for a friend. So yeah.
All right. What about the other issue that has not been brought up, where people remove their vinyl siding and put up shiplap or beadboard on their outside trailer wall? And I know that's been done in many places. What about that?
So again, if I'm not an expert on siding, but if it's on the outside, right, it has to be waterproof.
Okay.
Okay, because you got to think of this as you're going to hook this up like a regular pop-up camper, and you're driving it down, right? So it has to be waterproof. On the inside, if you're butted up to a porch, you're siding on that. You know, as long as it's enclosed,
So you
should
could
be
put
fine.
up the plywood T24, they call it, siding, which is on a lot of cheap houses, is painted or stained and varnished. That would be a waterproof type siding, so the rest of the trailer can have vinyl siding, but on your porch, you could have that T24.
That's above my pay grade when you start talking all these different.
Well,
I don't know the thermal waterproof. I mean,
Well,
if you want a short answer, everything needs to be waterproof around the PMRV.
Right.
Right. So
So it doesn't necessarily have to match what's on the rest of the outside of the trailer as long as it's waterproof.
correct.
Okay. I think that's all my questions.
Okay. We'll go take a look at your bathroom window.
You want to see a bathroom window?
Yeah, we won't see a window. Okay.
Go ahead.
Jan McCulloch, 4485. I'm going to change the topic here. And it may have been addressed, I don't know. Scooters and electric bikes, with the kids driving around, is there going to be any more supervision on that? We've had kids, we live on a one-way, and they're going the wrong way, and we've almost hit them with the golf carts.
Right.
They fly past us on the golf carts.
So I know this is in front of both the safety and the rules committee. The rules committee, I believe, knocked this down a little bit to get these resolutions out. We're meeting, is it next week or the following week? We're meeting here soon. We can get an update on that. So yes, this continues to come up every year with scooters, bikes, things of that nature that are zipping around. I don't have an answer for you right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann Dix, 4300, and I'm new to the park, so excuse me if this is a redundant question. But if a trailer is sold or a home is sold by the park, does the park not inspect the RV before it is listed?
No, we do not inspect the RV. Again, our inspection process is on the outside of the trailer. It needs to meet all the setbacks. We need to make certain that your electrical riser and everything is correct. Your sheds are compliant. Your outdoor structures are compliant.
Right. Well, since Eagle is watching us so closely now, do you think that perhaps now might be a time for the park to say, if the park is selling your trailer, we need to come inside to make sure that it is compliant before you sell?
We've been doing this for 2 years. So we've been this whole process that we just voted on, we've been doing it for 2 years. Where we find the hiccups and the mistakes is when it goes for sale by owner. Our salesperson doesn't go through it. Shades are pulled, windows are closed, park inspector walks around to the perimeter, makes certain everything's good. You buy a trailer, and then you find out it's non-compliant.
Okay.
Hi, Ben DeBoer, 5109. A quick clarification on the resolution that talked about a 4-foot clear walk space or clear space all the way around a trailer. Does that mean if a garage or shed is closer than 4 feet, it has to be moved?
Yes.
Because there's quite a few of them. But also like propane tanks and stuff like that, they can be right next to the trailer, and that's not considered encumbrance on the walk space.
Correct. So, and it's a good question because we've had this question multiple times. You know, what about the propane tanks and trees and things like that? So again, the Eagle letter is regarding structures. So your gazebos, your sheds, accessory structures has to have that 4-foot path around it. I think I was just explaining before this meeting, when we originally started dealing with Eagle, you had your trailer, and then you had your porch abutted up to your trailer. Originally, when we first started this conversation, Eagle said they have to be completely separate. So we can have 4 foot around all the structures, and we're like, are you kidding me? How am I supposed to build a bridge from my trailer to my porch to get, we'll put a little water under there, moat, all that other stuff. So it is really just the structures, your sheds, your gazebos, your, the exterior structures.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Not propane tanks, water.
Not propane tanks, water softeners, things of that nature, no.
Yeah, not those.
I knew I had one other question.
Are we back to the window again?
No, concerning the 4 foot.
Yes.
I built my own garage probably 12 years ago when Ralph was the inspector, and he checked stuff out good. I believe, have the rules changed in the last 10, 12 years? Because I believe when I built my garage, it was 3 foot off the lot line.
So you're talking off the. I'm not talking your site lot line.
That's what I'm talking.
That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is, in my computer, and this is taking really long. My computer's dying on me. But what I'm talking about is, you have your trailer, you have your porch, you have to have a 4 foot unobstructed path around there for emergency services, fire, things of that nature. If you got the variance from Ralph back in the day to move it, 3 foot from your lot line instead of 4 foot, that's not what we're talking about.
No, I'm asking if back in the day, the rule was 3 foot off your lot line for the garage.
Go ahead, Kelly.
The rule was, back in the day, you could have it up to 8 foot. You could have your garage set back 8 foot from the road.
Right.
And then when the state came in and did a check of our sites, they said you have to have that 4 foot that we're talking about now around the structure of the trailer. So what the board did was go back and change the Sandy Pines rule of 8 foot from the road. We changed it to 4 foot, which allowed members to move their garages away from their trailer out to get that 4 foot clearance. So it used to be 8 foot back. We changed it to 4 foot back to allow the members to move their garages out.
No, that's not my question, though. I'm talking the side of my garage, the length, not the front off the road, but the side of the garage. But I believe back in the day, that was supposed to be 3 feet off the lot line.
You're talking, it was 2 foot.
Yeah, 2 foot.
Yeah.
So has that changed now? My garage has to move to be 4 foot off?
No.
Okay.
No.
So you're talking left to right. So yeah.
I'm
so
talking about the width of the lot.
Right. Nope, you're good.
Okay.
We just need you to change your window. Asking for a friend. There you go, right. We'll never discuss.
Anyone else? Otherwise, we have about 5 minutes, I think. Yes.
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 Well, it can be 4 feet overlap, 4 feet overlap.
It's 4 feet. Yep. Jim, I'm correct, right? Between 2 sheds. Gene's asking between 2 sheds. If 2 sheds back up to each other, Gene, right? That's what you're asking?
Yes. What you have to do is the closest part of your shed, which would be your drip edge, can come with a plumb bob straight down on your lot line. So you still have to have a little bit of room, but you can drop straight down, not the floor. If you put your floor right on the lot line, that means the neighbor can't put theirs up to the lot line because they have to stay back for your overhang. So we go by the drip edge now. And that, as Kelly said, was because of a safety factor we've been allowed, because these aren't real, you don't own property. You don't own a geo-stake property. You need to stay, you had to be 2 foot off the lot line, and now it's 0, but it's the drip edge. It's the closest part of your building, correct? Yep.
Jeff, you have some email questions, or no, are we all good?
I have a stack of email questions, but I think we've addressed a lot of them through
Okay.
some of this conversation.
We have just a few more minutes if anyone has anything else. Otherwise, I'll let you back out to have fun. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Everybody
everyone.
have a blessed night. Thank you.